Hi, my name is Amanda. I'm a millennial with an English degree from a private school who is employed. So I would really like to tell you about how that happened and what that's been like. Essentially, at the end of my junior year, I got a little bit scared and paranoid about the job hunt. And I convinced myself that instead of interning at the nonprofits and schools and arts organizations that I had been working at, I ought to try a corporate internship to sort of round out my resume and, make myself a little more appealing to giant corporations in case that's what I wanted to apply to when the actual full-time job hunt came. Pretty good plan. I recommend it. I think it's a good idea. So I applied a bunch of places, got rejected from a bunch of places. It turns out you can study HR. So for me, as a random English major with no corporate experience, applying to these places got rejected right fast a lot of the time. However, I was a little bit tenacious. I followed up with people. I asked people I knew for contacts at these organizations just to call them and say, hey, I'm interested in what you do. How did you get there? What was your job path? How do you like where you work? Just trying to get a sense of like what actually are the jobs that people can have. In one of these conversations, someone said, oh, you know what? I have a colleague who you might be interested in talking to. She studied philosophy. You guys might get along. Talked to this lady. Turns out she needed an intern and she had missed the corporate deadline for requesting them from the actual summer program. So she just sort of hired me on the spot. And that's how I ended up getting an internship in recruiting. That was the one thing that as an English major I felt kind of qualified to do. Reading resumes, talking to people, thinking about, what is the job and how can I best kind of match up a candidate against it. Ended up being a pretty good match for my skills. That internship turned into an internship for the duration of my senior year, a part-time paid internship. I was able to scale back the 3 part-time jobs that I had on campus, only do 2 of those, and then do this internship as well. And so over the course of the 7 or 8 months that I had that part-time internship, I ended up getting really good at what I did. Come April or May of my senior year, this is 2 years ago now, I was applying all over the place, applying to publishing jobs, but couldn't get them because I'd never taken an unpaid publishing internship because I couldn't afford to take an unpaid internship. I got some interviews at sort of random companies, but the ones that ended up offering me jobs were located outside New York. And after much kind of hard thinking, I decided that starting my adult life was going to be hard enough, and I didn't want to do it 3,000 miles or 1,500 miles away from my friends and my family and my support network. So I had a discussion with my managers at my internship and sort of convinced them to make a full-time job for me. That pitch worked. It was super, super hard for me to muster up the courage to talk to these people and to say to them hey, I'm the quiet one who comes in 3 days a week that you don't really know about. Here's why you should hire me. It took a lot of chutzpah. And that's something I've gotten much, much better at in my, 2.5, almost 3 years of working in the corporate world. You have to advocate for yourself because no one else is going to do it. So it was a pretty extraordinary mix of luck and also me taking the opportunity and really learning everything I could possibly learn about what is an investment bank, what is economics, what is finance, how are those two things different, how can I be useful to my employers, and how can I guarantee myself a job. Really 10 months of hustling and learning how to do those things that ended up getting me a full-time job that I didn't even know existed before my senior year. And so this was all happening at a time where my friends and my peers from school were going into publishing, librarianship, news media, graduate school, all the things that I had sort of considered doing. And so it definitely hurt me to see them pursuing their passion when I was sitting at a desk reading about Roth versus traditional IRAs and learning about compound interest. But I have to say I'm really glad things worked out this way. I think there is definitely a benefit to applying to jobs that you don't think you are interested in or qualified for, because really cool shit can happen. So that is my highly individual, idiosyncratic, lucky way that I found my full-time job after college. Tomorrow I'm going to talk a little bit about the experience of choosing stability over your passion and how that's worked out for me. So if you have a similar story, I'd really love to hear it in the comments. People, if you're watching this video and don't know who I am, please read the comments and hear how other people navigated their post-graduation job search. And you can click through to tomorrow's video to see how it's actually gone.